We are live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram for show number 56. I have my two co-hosts, Rena Kia and Adria. We'll let Adria take it over from here. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Wow. Hello, guys. As Ty just mentioned, it is show number 56 for our weekly Flippinars, where Ty, the Flip Man, Miss Rena Kia, and myself answer your questions in regards to wholesaling homes with little to no cash or credit. You post your questions, I read the questions, they answer it. That's how that works. We are live across Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, so you still have a little bit of time to tag a friend and bring them along. Also, don't forget that you can join our Facebook group, Wholesaling with the Flip Man, where we have almost 9,500 members, where they post daily, answer questions. You can get help 24 hours a day if need be. What I will ask is that when you post your questions, that you tell me where you're located, and it makes your questions catered to you a little bit. Sometimes your location makes all the difference. Before we begin the day, I do like doing a little roundabout and saying hello to a few people. So hello to Brian from North Carolina, Jason from Houston, NBA gameplay from Philly, Trinity in Baltimore. That's actually Anthony in Baltimore. Tampa, Florida is where Jefferson's from. Leon, Deanne. Hey, Jason. Let's see here. And if you go ahead and start posting your questions, we will begin shortly. I'm hearing a little feedback. Let me fix that. Got that. On Instagram, we have Rising Above Adversity. Hey, haven't seen you before, so welcome. Thank you for joining us. Let's see here. Jen Wu is here, Edward Mitchell, Queens, New York, and Ocean Springs. Let's take a moment at the very beginning. If you know Ty, he's been doing this wholesaling game for quite a while. He's become quite successful. And what he's decided to do is make over 270 plus videos available to each and every one of you free on YouTube to get you started. He also has this one-page contract, which he's been using for over 15 years now, that works. It gets the job done. That's available to you on flipman.net. A lot of you ask about partnership deals. We have 50/50 deals. If you have an unmarketed deal that you just can't get over the hump of finding a buyer, that's there. I mean, there's so many things that we have available for you. But in addition to all of that, a lot of you want to step your wholesaling game up. And we have the beautiful Miss Rena Kia Williams here with us. And I'm going to let her in the beginning, and she will do it again in the end if you miss it, take a moment to explain to you what she can do in helping you build. I love it what she calls it. She calls it generational wealth. It's just credit is the gateway to your wealth. I love it when she says that. People, we've been trained that credit, don't do that, stay away from it. No, that's what you need to use to build your empire. People have been using it for decades. You've just been sleeping on it because you've been using it the wrong way. We're not talking about going you a store credit card so you can ball out and have a cute outfit. We're talking about using your credit so that your children's children will have something to fall back on. And this is what people have been doing for decades. Isn't that right, Rena Kia?
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't say it any better. You just did my whole intro. But You're so right. You're absolutely right. I can't scream enough generational wealth. In order to begin building generational wealth, we got to start building to begin with. And we have to understand that you don't always have everything you need to see the bigger picture. But as long as you have the first step, and one of those steps is credit, understanding the power of credit and understanding how to leverage your credit and use it as a ladder to your wealth or to your financial freedom. And that's what I do is using assets like real estate to build wealth by using and leveraging other people's money.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Gregory Howard mentioned in YouTube, he said, they taught us to stay away from credit cards. Glad you were empowering the people to change generations to come. That's right. And we're not talking about credit cards. We're talking about credit like bank credit. Don't keep it simple and small like the Capital Ones. We're talking about big life-changing loans, not little, you got an outfit for the club this weekend. So just make sure you understand the difference when we're talking about credit here. You know, credit, people think, oh, my car, you know, something like that. No. But again, as I said, Ms. Rena Kia will speak more on that towards the end. She'll let you know how to get in contact with her. She'll let you know all the ways that she can help you if you're not quite over that hump yet. But we will begin with your questions. Ty, you got anything you want to say to the good people out here?
People are saying on Facebook that the sound is something's going on, but it sounds good on my end, your end. I think I got both of you guys muted over here.
I do have a little echo on mine.
You do? Okay, yeah. Maybe you can adjust that. Oh, they saying it's better now. Okay, so all right. I think we're good.
All right, and I didn't give a shout out to my people on Facebook. Sam from Florida, MD White, Sonia, hey, and Teresa Beauchamp. All right. Did you have anything else to say? That was a complaint. That wasn't whatever.
Oh, one other thing. A student hit me up just before the show, and she had what I call one of those good problems. She couldn't figure out how to cash her $32,000 check.
Ooh. First of all, you cannot cash.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
That's what I advised her.
Yeah, you do.
She went to the bank what the check was written off of, and it was late. So they give you the money. It's not. I wouldn't advise you to do that, but this late in the day, they know I'm just not going to have that type of cash on them. So what I told her to do is, number one, you don't want to cash it for that much money. She went to her bank, with same thing. Cause she could deposit it, obviously, but they may put a 7-day hold on it, just depending on your account and your relationship with them. But I told her what she needs to do. Can you wait until in the morning? Number one, go back to that bank where it was written off of, and if you need the cash, you really don't want to deposit all that in your account. I get it. Then go get 3 checks for $8,000 each, right? Stay under that $10,000 mark. They're going to do it for the $10,000 because it's over that 32. They're going to add them all together. But for future check cashing, so get 3 cashier's checks for $8,000 each, and then get the other 8 in cash or whatever. She can do whatever she needs because she really needed the money. She called me crying 2 days ago because the deal looked like it was going to fall through, and she had been working on it for a while or whatever. Wow. So
that's a blessing.
That's one of those good problems, man. Cashing a check.
But anything over 10,000, they have to create this federal alert. So if you're trying to stay under the radar for whatever reason, you don't want to go and cash the full 30-some thousand because it's going to put you on top of the radar. So
yeah, but just a little, disclaimer here. We're not condoning, escaping the feds, because as Nikki said, that you do have the $10,000 laundering law is to keep people, your laundromats and your coins and stuff like that. It's washing money. Never mind, I watch too much Power and stuff. But anyway, it's to keep money keep money reported. So in her particular situation, which probably is isolated, the normal person wouldn't have a problem with opening an account and depositing it. But as Ty said, that's a wonderful problem to have. That's a life-changing amount of money, depending on what your situation is currently. That can put you in a whole nother spectrum, and that's what we talking about, securing the bag, baby. She got her check. She cashed.
Yeah, we're gonna probably do an interview on that if she ever gets. She needs to buy her website.
Congratulations, cash, because she was going to Miami, South Beach, and that's gonna make it rain.
That's huge. That's a good check.
Oh yeah,
okay, guys, we're gonna go ahead and jump right into this thing. Let's see here. Let's go with our first question. Hey, Shaq. I have to speak to Shaq. He's from the West Side, Detroit. Always here. Nurse Betty Cares on YouTube. Hi, Ty. Will you ever do... I should have read this first. Will you ever do a flash sale, please? Because I really would like to get the commercial wholesaling course, but don't have enough. Although I've been saving to get it. Well, Nurse Betty, I'll answer this for you. Ty doesn't, for one, advertise here the amount of his course, although you can probably see it if you go to the right place, because it does fluctuate and change. But I was thinking maybe we can do something with Ty when we hit 10,000 members on Wholesale Facebook Flip. We could do some type of drawing or raffle. So maybe not a flash sale, Miss Betty. I don't know. Ty might do something like that. Get it, sign up within, 12 hours. You get a certain deal, but I'll let him think about that, but he ain't gonna want to talk about that right now, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so he ain't even say nothing.
The best investment is in yourself.
Yeah.
That's right. Eric, which is my movie quote man on Facebook, has a comment. He says, I have a lady who has a house with all my comps, looks like it's worth $146K. She owes 117 and is okay with walking away from the deal if she can get $7,000 to help her relocate, considering it may need a little bit of work and an AC service. Would this be a good subject to deal? What do we think? Those numbers are kind of close there, and she wants quite a bit.
I mean, it depends on your exit strategy. It depends on the cash flow. You do a subject to, I mean, you said the property is really worth 140,000, so it's really not a lot of equity in there. The purpose of a subject to is that you want to maybe sell it to your tenant. And if there's not a lot of equity in there, then what's the purpose?
All right, Eric. So that's something that you might want to think about there. I know we talk about it all the time, really wanting to help people. But at the end of the day, this is your business. Your business has a purpose. The purpose of your business may very well be to help some, but at the end of the day is to provide income to you. If there's no way for you to make income off of it, make some money, it may not be for you. You have to just pass on it. You can't save them all. You can't make a deal out of everything. So Eric, hope that helps you. Sticking with Facebook, Big B Hunt says, I'm a newbie wholesaler and I'm terrified to talk to sellers. I watched a bunch of Flipman videos, bought a list of 600, purchased the postcards you guys advertised, way to go, and posted about 45 bandit signs around my city. I've taken about 6 calls so far, but I don't really know how to make an offer without sounding nervous. The calls just don't seem to have a natural flow to them. My questions are, how do I get accurate comps without a realtor? Currently seeking one. And how do I get my conversation on point with the seller?
I like that. That's actually that's actually good questions. And I think Todd can chime in as well. But to answer your first question, the more educated you are, the more experienced, you may blow the first couple deals. And it's just because it's that experience that you want to accumulate, which accumulates over time. And the more you do this business, you're going to realize that the conversation is similar. It's always similar when you're talking to sellers. It's usually always similar when you're talking to buyers. So the more it's just going to come with experience. It's going to come with experience. I will recommend that maybe you find a mentor that you can actually follow. And you just duplicate their steps. You duplicate their conversations. You duplicate the way that they act. And you may follow for a couple months before you begin to feel comfortable. So just experience. It doesn't matter if you do butcher your first couple of deals just because the flow wasn't right. But over time, you're going to eventually get that experience. Your second question, I think that the most cost-effective way to look for comps is on Zillow. In my opinion, some people may vary different, but there are so many filters on Zillow that can almost get accurate comps. There's a app called HomeSnap, and I love HomeSnap, especially when I'm in the field. All I have to do is snap a picture of the front of the home, and all the home information and specs and details will pop up. Also, you can see a graph where you see the homes that have sold. So those are great sources. And maybe Ty have a different perspective.
I second everything she said. If you are not sure on what questions to actually ask or whatever, which we'll often do in this, but I have a video where you can, you know, it's called Top 10 Questions Asked Sellers for Wholesaling. So that gives you a flow. I have a couple of calls recorded with sellers or whatever, and you can see I'm stumbling all over the place in the sense or whatever, because it's just a conversation that you're having, you know, in reality. As she said, when the more experience that you pick up from dealing with sellers, the more comfortable you are with talking with them and, you know, knowing what's a deal and what's not a deal. You probably need to understand this also, is that if you talk to 100 people in the course of a month, you'll be fortunate that 5 of those are actual opportunities, you know, because most people are just going to want too much as far as wholesaling. They're going to want too much. So you all should almost expect that it's not going to work for you. From my experience, you know, you go almost just most people just going to want more than what makes sense, which that's fine because they're trying to sell something. They're trying to make as much money as possible. But those very few that are motivated to sell, and that's why you have to generate a lot of leads, you know, that could mean 25, 30, you know, and beyond $1,000 each month, you know. So, so the main thing is just, as she mentioned several times, is just the experience. She and I can talk till our faces are blue or whatever, and we may give you a lot of good stuff as far as information, but nothing is going to be more valuable than your own experience of dealing with sellers, buyers, or just a transaction in general. So.
And I like the fact that you said you have this video with the top 10 questions. So I would recommend, you know, maybe as a newbie, take those questions and put it on a sheet. You build systems. Success is not a secret, it's a system. So you build this, you create this sheet with those questions. So when you talk to the homeowner, you're just checking off those questions. And then, but you do it in a very conversational way, but just making sure you hit those questions. And eventually it's just going to become natural.
All right, there you have it. Instagram, Rising Above Adversity, has a question. She says, does that contract work for all states? Yes. The one-page contract that Ty makes available to each and every one of you on flipman.net or by texting 313131. I think you text contract to that number. Works everywhere. It works for the A to B, the B to C. It gets it done. So just know that that is something that is offered to you. There's no need for you to pay for a contract. It doesn't matter whether your contract is 4 pages or 1 page. It's still a legal and binding agreement. So yes, it does work in all states. Dwayne Wave on Instagram wants to know, is gap funding still available?
Yes. Always.
Always. See, I answered that. I told you.
Always. Absolutely. It's for you.
Dwayne, yeah.
Gap funding for individuals who may be new. Gap funding is a program that I created to help individuals that has limited to no resources or just don't want to use their money to be able to use other people's money and still be able to flip or build your real estate business. So it is a program that if you have at least a 680 or higher, I help you leverage that credit to get up to $150,000 of unsecured credit that you can use for wholesaling or your fix and flip to begin to build your real estate portfolio.
All right. Every week it seems like we have a catchphrase or a quote or some words of encouragement. Last week it was nothing changes if nothing changes. And I see a lot of people in just the YouTube chat saying they love what you just said. Success is not a secret. It is a system. So
system that can run on its own if you're on the beach. That's the key.
All right. That's going to be
your system. And allow people to be able to run your system.
Okay. That's
a difference from an entrepreneur and a true business owner. Is that regardless I'm there, my business is still going. If I'm an entrepreneur, my business stops when I stop.
Oh, yes. Love that. NBA gameplay. I read your comment. We will consider that. Yeah, I see that. Absolutely. You have a question though? Post your question. Okay. Also, I see comments in regards to Ty's shirt. So we're going to do a little information here. If you need a little added income, wholesaling might be for you. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, wholesaling may be for you. If you're suffering from FOB, as Ty calls it, which is the fear of being broke, wholesaling may be for you. This Ty created shirt is also motivation for each and every one of you. Don't settle. Don't listen to they. We talked about they last week. We don't know who they are. They are.
I came up with an acronym for they.
Oh, you did? What was they?
The haters elevate you.
Ooh.
Haters
elevate you. The haters elevate you. They are the haters that elevate you. Okay.
Wow.
Right. Ooh, look at us with our little jewels. Okay.
Our Adrian came out with sob last week.
Yeah.
So over being broke.
So over being broke. Okay, so we got FOB, sob, and they. Okay, don't let they keep you from getting a check. Okay. So let's. Oh yeah, I got the pin all that.
Haters elevate you.
Yes, we'll have a shirt that says they next. Who are they?
Everybody know they. Everybody know they. Right.
Right. Okay. Let's see here, and that was for Al and Gregory. Gregory actually said, "Ty, where can I purchase that shirt you got on, King?" And Al Thompson.
There's a version of it. It doesn't look exactly like this one on my site, flipman.net, but we are going to get this actual image on the shirt. It looks similar, but it's a little different. But it'll be available on the site, in a few days.
All right. Evan Poole on YouTube. Rena Kia, if a realtor wanted to do wholesaling, should they have a partner set up a LLC and still be listed as an authorized member or registered agent, or should they not be involved in the LLC at all?
They should not be involved in the LLC at all. And you want to create some type of partnership of agreement between you all outside of the LLC.
All right. Simple, cut and dry. There's your answer, Evan. Shanaria Curry Scott on YouTube. Would it be a good deal to wholesale a fire damaged home with a selling price of $9,500? $9,500. Okay. So right there, really not enough information, because we would need to know how bad is the damage. Is it totally gutted, or does it still have a good structure, like solid bones, like a brick house? What's the ARV of the area? How much would the home how much would it have been worth? We need to know that. Fire damaged properties, do not be afraid of those. Some of those can actually be awesome deals, but you have to get those at a cheap enough price, depending on the amount of work that has to go into it. So answer those few questions. It could be a good deal for you. It could be no deal. So a little bit more information there. Rena Kia, anything?
But
no, you said it perfectly.
Yeah, before we answer that, I talked to this lady. She was sitting in the airport in Austin, Texas, and I told her I'll shout her out. I see she posted a comment on Facebook, Sonia Samuels. So what's going on, Sonia Samuels? And thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, Sonia.
Hello, Sonia. Pleasure.
Okay, and Melvetta Gibson says it's her first time joining. Looking forward to learning more. Thank you for joining us, Melvetta. I hope you get some great knowledge you can use today. Let's see here. CJ Sims on YouTube says, I tried to pull a deal.
No, we didn't answer that question. We didn't answer the last question. I interrupted.
Technically, I did.
Adrian answered the last question.
Oh, okay. Oh, my bad.
I asked if you had some input on it.
Oh.
Did you have anything you wanted to add to fire damage property?
I don't remember what it was. I thought Rena was about to answer it, but I don't remember what it was. Go ahead, though.
Yeah, you stay asleep. We got this.
We got it.
Okay, so CJ says he tried to pull a deal in DC. Owners owed $495. The home appraised at $515 as is. The buyer says when it forecloses and the banks gets it, it will go for half the price. How do I compete with bank discounts?
What was that from?
How do you compete with bank discounts?
Okay.
So you're trying to wholesale it before the banks foreclose on it? Oh, what? I don't understand your question.
Not sure.
I mean, it's actually a good setup question. I just want to make sure I understand the question that you're answering.
So CJ, if you can hear me, if you can hear the sound of my voice, add a little bit more information there. What exactly are you trying to do with this deal? And I'll come back to you. I promise I will. Let's see here. And Sonia said, thank you guys. And hey, Regina Sharp. Yay. Brandon Kennard on Facebook wants to know, how do I find commercial nation tenant buyer if I have great location property, but brokers in searching through their websites haven't worked?
He said a tenant buyer, or does he mean a national tenant? Those are two. Well, he means a national tenant, I guess is what he's asking.
So you have a commercial building, but now you need tenants? Is that your question?
Yeah, he needs to be a little bit more clear on the question.
Okay. All right, guys. Okay. So we've ran into several questions here that need a little bit of information. Just remember again, as I said in the beginning, your location could make a difference in your answer. If it's a question on, is it a deal? We need to know what you're trying to do with it. What's your end game? Wholesaling it, buying it, flipping it, whatever the case may be. How much you've offered, how much the repairs are, the after repair value, all of that extra information gets your question answered, a little bit faster, and I don't have to try to remember to come back to it. I'm just saying. Okay. Let's see here. Sticking with Facebook, Kagan Sharp says, I have a deal right now under contract. The purchase price is $200K. Repairs are $40K, and the ARV is $320. I need $40,000 down, which is 20%. And I had the money when I put it under contract, but had some life situations come up, and now I don't have the $40K. I only have $25K. What should I do?
Well, just quick math. 320 times 70% is 224,000. It's not a deal, number one.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, cause you add 200 to 200. Well, 200 plus 40 is 240. Is for the repairs, and then it's not a deal for me, regardless, because they want you to put 20% down on it, and I'm not going to do that. No.
Is that your hard money lender?
I'm saying, well, let's back up. I was assuming he's trying to wholesale it. Now, let me back up.
Right.
Yeah. If you're not trying to wholesale it and the hard money lender wants 20% down, then that's normal. Whatever. So is he trying to flip it, or is he trying to wholesale it?
All right. There we have again, guys. Another.
If you're trying to wholesale it, run if someone asks you to put 20% down.
Right. Right. Now, if you're doing something else, buying, holding, flipping, that could change the scenario up a little bit. Again, knowing what your exit strategy is could,
but regardless of your exit strategy, you're going into the deal upside down. You're $20,000 over the threshold. Yeah. So that's a problem. So you may want to go back anyway and ask them to lower that amount to maybe 180. If not, then you're going to have to rearrange your numbers.
And he said, no, I'm trying to flip it. So
yeah, it needs to be a little cheap. You could
probably flip it. That's even worse, because you're over $20,000 over the 70% threshold. So rework your numbers, because you're putting yourself in a very tight deal. Yeah. Or you may not make a lot of money from it. So rework your numbers.
And one mistake on repairs could eat all of that up.
Eat all of that up. Plus your realtor fees and taxes and all types of
costs and all that stuff. Yeah.
There's a reason why they do the 70%, because you need that, because part of that 30% profit is expenses.
Yeah, the holding costs. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right. Let's see here. Kimberly in California, and this is from YouTube. She found an owner of a vacant house in California who lives in Texas. Is this still a possible deal? Does their seller need to be present?
No, I love those.
I love those. I love those. Absolutely. Those are the ones that have no emotional attachment to these properties. They just want to get rid of them. And to answer your question, yes, it's called a out-of-state closing.
Yeah.
So she can close where she is. You can close here. Y'all can close the deal. So yeah, you don't have to be here, present.
Okay. Let's see here. Someone wants to know, Ty, when are you going to start uploading more videos other than these lives? What else could you possibly cover in your videos? Haven't you covered everything?
Well, like I said, the lady that called me, the student rather, we're gonna probably do that one. So that'll be up in the next week or so, I guess. Like you say, Ada, it's really not much more I can cover. Now, I have done some repeats because the audio and video quality is better than maybe when the original video was done. So I have done some of those or whatever. So I really ran out of stuff to say in a lot of cases. So again, a lot of stuff is repeats when I do new topics or whatever. It's just like I ain't comparing myself to the Bible. But it's like you're trying to say, when you gonna come out with some new stuff in the Bible? You know, ain't nothing else new. You know what I'm saying? You know, so that's the best example I can give of that. Or whatever. The only thing I can do is maybe these and just interview people that, you know, with a different voice than mine, but I don't know everything or whatever. You know, like we're doing, we have Rena Kia here, Adria here. You know, they have different opinions. So, you know, that's, I don't know, man. That's a good question or whatever. So.
All
Post
right.
a question. What would you like to see that you haven't seen?
Yeah, that you haven't seen. Yeah. So that's one of the things. Like a lot of people search my channel based on titles, but it's, and I'm glad you brought that up. Whenever if someone texts me and I refer you back to a video or I say, join my Facebook group, or something like that, it's not that I'm being rude by no means, because I think I do answer questions probably more than what I probably should in reality or whatever. Then I have bad days just like anyone. I have relationships that may ruin my day and, you know, all kinds of stuff or whatever. So, you know, just always keep that in mind or whatever. So, but I'm gonna refer you back to the source, and I can just tell by your question in a lot of cases that you may have only watched one of my videos just from your question or whatever. And just because the title, and I said this over and over again, just because the title is one thing, I probably have, in most cases, I'm going to explain something else that's going to answer one of your future questions, because in order for me to explain that particular title, I have to go into something else that's going to be you. So if you can't afford me in my courses and coaching, take advantage of what's free. You know, it's there, it's free. I'm not good at going through videos and like, okay, that's fine. But I know if it were me, I may not be able to retain information in that way, in the best way. But if I don't have the resources to buy how I can get the information, then I'm gonna take what's available to me and use it if that's what I really want to do. I'm not gonna use, well, I can't learn this way as an excuse. Or whatever. We're not speaking different languages. It'd be different if I was speaking a different language. But I'm sitting there telling you. So if you need to make a lot of notes, write down everything I say so you can read it back to yourself, and that's the way you can understand it, then do that. It may take you a long time to do it, but again, if you can't afford to pay me or someone like me or whatever to take you to that next level, you need to do what you need to do if you're serious about it. You know, that's part of that gator. You know, hey, I'm gonna make it happen.
It's a billion-dollar industry. So understand, you know, investing in yourself and investing in that education can take you so far ahead. Because if you don't, the learning curve behind you not investing in your education is more costly than the education, because the mistakes cost more than you paying a mentor to show you the right way to begin with. But although the There's nothing new under the sun. Like you said, take those videos and just learn as much as you can. And after you learn those videos, if you need more one-on-one help, because I do recommend that, invest in yourself. It's okay.
I'm gonna give you a better example. A guy texts me and say he had been to a seminar, which I'm never gonna kick anyone's stuff. I'm just gonna tell you what I think it is, what it ain't, or whatever. And he said they wanted 20 grand and 50 grand for the next level. Well, that's fine. Hey, roll with it. So he said, well, I like your stuff, blah, blah, blah. So how much do you charge? Now, and he was considering the 20 grand now. He was considering that. So when I said what my price was, which is a lot less, and most of y'all know what it is, I'm not going to quote it here because it may change, but it's a lot less, And guess what he said? Why are you charging so much? I said, I said, why won't you do this? The person, I'm not going to call the company, which a lot of you will be familiar with. Why don't you contact that guy? See if you can get him to even email you back. How about that?
Call Robert.
I'm like, man, people are tripped, boy.
Yeah.
No. Like, why are you charging so much? You can actually speak to the person that you're going to spend your money with, and you're going to ask me, why am I charging so much? But they want to charge you 20 grand, and you're talking to somebody in a call center. Never even done a deal before.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Back to you, Adrian.
Oh, I'm up. I didn't doze. I dozed for like a second. I'm sorry. Okay, so in that brief, your soapbox you got on it, and what else? Okay, so what they said they would love to see, and maybe we could work this out. They wanted more home walkthroughs, house walkthroughs, field videos, and more script calls. How hard would it be to do? I don't know. Maybe they would like to see a deal from beginning to end. Like, you may not get it all tomorrow, but say a house that you did a walkthrough on, and then you came back and you put some numbers. We ain't gonna tell you all of it, but then and sat down and did a blurted out contract, and then when it's done, put it all back together and like, this is a deal.
You know what? I had met a cat that locally here that does video, and we actually went out to a house that I was going to close on the next day, and I was going to sort of put something like that together or whatever, but he disappeared. You know what I'm saying? So, I was going to barter, my knowledge and him just maybe doing some more quality videos, but he disappeared. So I may do something like that. But y'all have to understand that I do this, and I like talking about it because that's how I eat or whatever. And the internet is a hobby of mine, but it ain't that much of a hobby. You know what I'm saying? Where I can do where I'm going to take the time out to do a deal from beginning to end or whatever. Maybe one day, but I would need somebody to push me in that direction. And then they pretty much they're doing most of it for me. So, but you never know. I'm not going to say it's not possible, but it'll be hard for me just to do it from beginning to end. So.
Well, guys, I tried to motivate you all, and I said effective, which is tomorrow's June 1st, right? What did I say? I've been saying it for 3 weeks. Effective June 1st, get your $100, and we're all going to do a 30-day June challenge starting on the 1st to see if we together, me, because I don't know as much, guys. He's meant me just like learn the same information from beginning to end, and every day, maybe this could be something we could do. Maybe on the Facebook channel, I can post what I did that day, what I spent my 2-3 hours doing, and you can mirror it or we can add to it. And every day we do a step by step and see at the end of the month if we all together can come up with a deal. How does that sound, guys? What if we do something like that? Oh, I have to commit to come on every day. Hold up, wait a minute. Okay, let's rethink that. Okay, but it sounds like it could be something. Let's get back to your questions. Malik has a question that he's gonna tell me to ask like 1,000 times, so I'm gonna get there. Okay, if I'm seeing a house for 9.9, we'll just say 10K, and it needs about 25K in repairs, and comps in the area are about 60. And the market is mostly rental, what would you do in that situation? So we're talking 10 plus 25, which is 35. You're already over that half mark. You haven't even made any money on it. Mostly rentals. What would you do?
Well, I did the quick math on it. 60,000 times 70% is 42, minus 25 is 17, and he can get it for 10. You know, that's doable. What you think, Nick?
I think that's doable, but I think we got to understand when we come upon a gold mine. I didn't realize this 6-7 years ago when the bottom first fell out of real estate and all these properties was 20,000. See, that's how you create wealth. So we got to understand the, I'm not for sure if everyone understands the rule of 72. The rule of 72 states that if you divide the return into the number 72, it tells you how many years it takes for your money to double. So when you purchase a property and you all in at 25, 30,000, and you can actually put a tenant in there at $600-700, do you know you'll break even in like a year and a half? And after that, the rental cash flow is 100% profit. And if you go out and buy 10 of those, you are pretty much at a place of financial freedom. I love those numbers. I would keep anything I purchase in compacts under 25, 30,000, because those are the perfect rental properties. They're cheap. I can break even quick. I don't have to carry a note for 10, 15 years. I'm most likely going to break even in a year and a half and now own this property free and clear. And if I have a lot of them, now these properties become leverage components. Now I can pull equity out of them because I own it free and clear, and which will put me in a place to go buy another property. So understand when you have a gold mine, I would keep it, but you know.
Well, that's assuming if he has 10 grand to pay for it. So
get into the gap funding and get your 100 up to 150,000 so you can take advantage of stuff like that. Or situations like that, bring family members in and say, hey, we got this property, we can go, whatever the case may be. But you want to take advantage of those properties. To me, those are the properties you want to build your buy and hold portfolio with.
Okay. All right, guys. See, that's what she just said. Family members, 10 grand. 10 grand could be, for me right now, if some 10 grand dropped in my life, I could do some things, okay? I could get me out of some ruts, probably you as well, So let's be realistic here. To somebody else, that 10 grand may be a teardrop in the bucket and they can afford to do that. So you have to take your situation and decide. A lot of people, when you're starting this game, this wholesaling game, and you say, oh, 10 grand for a house, word, bam, I don't need 25K. Oh, I can do that and rent that out. But if you're not in that position yet, that's just not for you. You need to wholesale it. Let somebody else handle that. If you can wholesale that deal and say make 2-3 grand off, that's not chump change. I'm sorry, a lot of people spit at that. That might be your bag. That's fine, But for me, that's not chump change. It will make a difference for me. But if I do that 3-4 times, now I have 10 grand. So the next time I run up on a deal like this, now I can, now I'm ready. So every deal may not be for you to want to buy and hold or, rent out on your own. Don't sleep on the wholesaling it, but also don't sleep on, like she said, asking your family members to partner in. All of us got that one auntie or uncle that's balling on the slide. They be like, ask them. There's that day we talked about, the haters encouraging you or whatever. They may go for it, they may not, but it doesn't hurt to ask. So I'm telling you guys, she said it 1,000 times, maybe not 1,000, I'm not over exaggerating, but more times you should get it by now. There's real estate game, there's real estate market, multi-billion-dollar industry. There's ways where if you come across a deal that Malik just mentioned, you should be able to do something with it that benefits you. Wholesale it, buying it, putting it on to somebody else, JVing it. Don't sleep on deals like that. That's all I got to say there. Okay, it's you got something there. It's just what you gonna do with it. Absolutely. What you gonna do with it? Off-roader says, "Hey guys, the title search came back where the seller owes where the seller owes 14K over what is due him. To make it work, all I'm getting is $400. What is the lowest you have ever walked away with?" I can tell you right now, what's half a zero? That's what Ty says.
The least I've ever made is 500.
In the words of my grandfather, it all adds up. I don't care. I mean, I would rather do a deal where I'm making anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 minimally, but at the same time, I'm not going to walk away from money.
Yeah, and like that 500, which it didn't turn out that way. I thought he was going to be a buyer that I would do more deals with, which I didn't, but that's fine. But that was my intent. So I was looking at, hey, he just paid me $500 to be added to my buyers list, you know. So I'm sure I used it and it was spent well on somebody.
500 makes sense. I mean, doing a deal for $100, you probably broke even with your time.
Yeah.
Okay. Rena Kia,
but sellers will try to control you like that. So that was, actually, that's a good question. So basically you said that the seller will only put $400 or $500 on top for your fee. Is that what he stated? That means that the seller is controlling your fee. That means that you approach that deal.
That's your first mistake right there.
You approach that deal completely wrong.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You didn't create your own spread. As the wholesalers, we want to create our own spread.
Okay. Alfred, I hope that helps you there. Rena Kia, this question is for you from Darius. He wants to know, can I use your gap funding deal for cash to take cash to a foreclosure auction to buy cheap deals?
Yes, you can turn the credit into cash. You just got to have a strategy with it. You got to know that when you buy foreclosures, you have to hold on. In most states, depending on what state you are in, you have to hold on to that property for at least a year and a day. And so you got to make sure you have enough resources to sustain yourself through that year. And you also got to understand that once you do pass that year and a day, you got to do a quiet title and a foreclosure process, which are more attorney fees. So just make sure you run your numbers and understand the bigger picture so you know how to approach it.
Okay. Melanie, who is a newbie, in regards to business cards, she wants to know, should I have one card for buyers and another for sellers? Since the website will be on the cards I give to buyers.
No, I mean, I think, just being a real estate investor cover all of it. So no, you don't have to have two cards. You can run one business can have multiple divisions.
Okay, let's see here. Facebook, Jamar Mobley says, this is the word of mouth is your weapon. Family bring investors to the table or find investors first. You don't need cash to make money. I have an $8,000 deal on the table, no cash, just knowing who you're dealing with. Okay. Yeah, I think maybe that was a comment. Yeah, this whole thing is about having little to no cash, Jamar, and everybody here. You don't have to have anything to put up. If you know who you're dealing with, as he said, and how this works by taking advantage of the videos, these Flippinars, the Facebook group and all of that, you should have enough knowledge to put a deal together that doesn't require any money of yours, at least a minimum of $10 just to make the one-page contract legal and binding, just some exchange. And that typically never even matters or happens if you have a motivated enough seller, because that's just something that they're not going to be interested in. What's $10 when you're supposed to be bringing them 10K? So yes, Jamar, good luck on that $8,000 you got on the table.
And I understand it's still a business. So, I mean, you still got somewhat business expense. I mean, if, you can't do a deal with absolutely no money, but how did you get the deal? You had to market, you had to get in your car. So there's still some little small expenses that you want to allocate for.
Mm-hmm. Brandon was the question. We're going back to him on Facebook. He had the question in regards to the national buyer. Brandon, I'm gonna read it, but I still don't think you cleared up what they needed to know. He says, how do I find commercial national tenant or buyer if I have looked hard through sites, brokers and company sites, and LLC shirts? The property is on the corner of a four-way intersection.
All right, just to answer his question, I think what he's trying to do is he's referring to, a few of the videos that I've put on my YouTube channel. But there are lists out there that you can buy national tenants. Some of them can be a little pricey or whatever. But some of it can just be simply just doing research. You can probably think of 10 to 20 fast food restaurants. You can think about the business along AutoZone, O'Reilly Parts, Advanced Auto, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid and Walgreens, the same company now. So you can just sort of go down the industry and you can probably come up with your list with 100 just like that. But there are lists that you can buy. Now, as far as buyers, it's just not going to be a list of buyers you can buy for commercial real estate. It's in my opinion, it's so much more broker driven when you're dealing with commercial real estate. But if you find a deal, a true deal where you found a commercial property, it's vacant, you got a national tenant to agree to a long-term triple net, at least 10 or 15 years, with an LOI and actual agreement in place, a buyer will be easy if the numbers are attractive, meaning, just to give you an example, in most markets outside of California or maybe New York, a 6% cap rate will be considered full price, 6%, 6.25%, 6.5%. 6.75 will be considered full price. But if you can get that property under contract and it makes sense for you at 8.5, you could easily sell it at 7.5. Buyers all over the country will be biting at that because they're getting a whole percent as far as cap rate versus what they're used to, or a percent or more versus what they're used to under a normal purchase at full price. So hopefully I'm answering your question, but that is just not a cut and dry thing. But you can buy a list as far as national tenants, but as far as buyers, they're just going to be so broker driven. But if you have something under contract with a national tenant in place, you can reach out to buyers in any direction, brokers in any direction, and they'll be able to provide a buyer for you. So the hard part of that equation is getting a national tenant to commit to a location. It just is. Just from my experience.
And to add to that, every corporation has a real estate department. So what you want to do is contact the real estate department of that corporation. And they're going to ask you a series of questions about the area and things of that nature. You want to be able to prepare those questions and prepare those documents. They're going to pretty much determine if that area location fits what they're trying to accomplish. So, and like Ty said, you just duplicate what's already out there. When you go to certain neighborhoods, the tenants are always almost the same. In some neighborhoods, you got the check and cash place, you have, the wing shop, you have the hair shop, you have, a food depot. In certain places, you're only going to see certain tenants. So you can go around that area, maybe a mile or two within that area, and look, or 3 or 4 miles within the area, and see what tenants are in that area. And then you just call them and see if they want to come over to your area, or if they'll be interested in being a tenant in your shopping center or whatever.
All right, Brandon, I hope we got your question answered on that go round. Rena, the house flipper on YouTube, wants to know, what are your thoughts of purchasing from a land bank?
If it's a deal, it's a deal, regardless of who's selling it.
Okay. OJ Bonkers, thanks for joining us. This is his first webinar, and he says, I'm loving it. Oh, we get as good as McDonald's French fries with extra salt. Bird Q, still, this is from, YouTube. You guys are lit, first off. Thank you. My partner and I have 200 bandit signs and a few lists cross-referenced to call for cold calling. Plan on starting Saturday. How many cold calls should we shoot for per day?
As many as you can pound out.
It's a numbers game. The more you call, the more possibility of.
So maybe not setting out to say you're going to call 50, 75 people. Instead, set out a time frame. You're going to allow 3 hours and see how many you can fit into that time frame. Don't shoot for how many people or how many, numbers you can call. Instead, set a schedule. And once you start, and once that time is up, you stop for the day. Don't guys, this thing is, I'm just going to tell you, I stop every now and again to drop some little tidbits because I'm still in the same boat as most of you guys. This thing is tedious. It takes doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again against the definition of being tedious. But it can get tiring. You can get burnt out. So if you sit there and try to do that whole list today, you're not going to call anybody tomorrow. You're just not. Because you're going to be like, man, I called 100 yesterday. That's good enough for today. So don't do that. Set aside time frames. Ty's talked about this, the amount of hours in a day, how many hours you spend at your day job helping somebody else build their empire, helping them make money. How much time are you going to put into you making money? How much effort are you going to put into your empire? Okay. If all you have is 2 hours to set aside a day because you got the kids, you got the soccer, you got the basketball, you got the baseball, you got your work, you got your church, that's fine. It's better than nothing, but dedicate that 2 hours. So let's not be focused on how many numbers you're calling. Let's just set aside a set of time that you're going to call. So if tomorrow, June 1st, you're going to accept my challenge and 2 hours is your thing, 2 hours at a reasonable time. Don't call nobody's house after 9 o'clock. Just don't do it. Call the numbers after 9 o'clock. So say from 6 to 8, that's what you're going to do. If you have time in the morning, 10 to 12, or whatever the case may be, leave messages, have your script ready to go. I know y'all ask for scripts, but Ty says it all the time. I see that you're the owner of this property is such and such. Are you such and such? Are you interested in selling this property? Okay. How much are you interested in selling it for? Blase, blase. Just write down what you want to say. The questions if they say yes, this is my question. If they say no, this is my question. Have your number down because you're going to repeat that number and start fumbling over it. You're going to forget it. Just read it and then just go on to the next one. Knock out as many as you can in that 2 hour time frame, Bird. You got this. Sound about right?
I think you made a great point. I love the time method, because you can't get burnt out. Last thing you want to do is run really fast for a month and nothing come up of it. And then you get to a point where you become they say it ain't going to work, so you don't want that. One thing about real estate, what I have learned over the 15 years I've been in this game, it's not about how quick I can get to the finish line. It's about being able to be consistent over time. I'd rather do 100 a month over a year versus me trying to do 1,000 in a month and I get burnt out and I don't do anything. It's the consistency over time that really drives the results.
All right. I've been called out by LL Cool J number 2. Adrian, you have not acknowledged your man today. What's that about? I apologize, boo. I do apologize. Hey, LL, how you doing?
LL said, I need love.
Okay. King David, welcome. He says it's his first time being here. And how do you get or skip trace?
How you do what?
I guess I guess if he's interested in doing skip tracing, everybody take note. We're going to answer this one time. What are the resources that he can use for skip tracing?
Okay. I just posted that into the Flippinar the other day too. I'm not a Flippinar, but the Flipman Facebook channel. But some that works. You have TLO. It's somewhat expensive. You have LexisNexis, which is very expensive. You have People Search. You have
Anywho.
Ben Verified. Ben Verified is one.
You have Intellus. A lot of times you sort of have to try to backdoor it. Intellus is good at that. It's inexpensive compared to some of the others. You can target relatives, and you can reach out to relatives and see if they would reach out to the person that you're trying to find. You may have to, I would encourage you to give that relative an incentive to pass your number along. When I say an incentive, maybe it's $500 or $1,000 if you close on that property. So, but Renika's in that credit game, so that's, she's going to know a lot more about the skip tracing than I would. As she mentioned, several of the sources, where some of them more expensive, as she said, but
And not just expensive, like there's a lot, like it's very extensive to even become, to be able to use their system. Like some of them, like Nessus, you have to have, you know, they're going to come to your office. You have to have a location. You have to have a cabinet with a key and all those things. So there's some that is a little bit more extensive for you to even become a part of that software, because these are the software that real big corporations that uses to find people. These are the same software that they use. So one thing I will always say is, if you do use something like Then Verify People Search, and they ask you why you need it, I would definitely not say because I'm a real estate investor trying to find homes. I would say something in the lines of, what's a good one?
Maybe you're in the rental business. You're trying to find.
You're in the rental business. That's a good one. You're in the rental business. You want to pull background and credit checks, or you want to find references for the particular client. You can say that you're in the debt collection business, and you have to contact people to be able to collect the debt. But they do steer away from you just looking for a homeowner.
Yeah.
All right, Joe Dirt, I see that was your question as well. So hopefully you're still with us on YouTube and you got that information. Shaq Smith, my homie from the west side of Detroit, the D, says, Ty, how can I locate an address for an LLC if they're registered in my state? I can locate them on Lara, but sometimes they're registered in other states and I can't locate the address. We still use the same type of skipping information. How do you handle that?
Well, I don't know. I'm assuming you're saying the LLC is the owner. So in some states are what they call them when they don't make that information public. I can't think of the name of it, but if it's a state that makes, tax information public, the tax bill has to go somewhere. So that mailing address is available. You may not be able to find a phone number for them, and that may be intentional by that LLC. But if they have a mailing address, then that's where you'll send your mailer to say, hey, I'm interested in buying this property. I'm assuming that's what he's asking.
The county record should definitely have a mailing address. Mm-hmm. Usually it should be different from the property address. And that's how you can kind of determine if the homeowner actually lives there, or they may be an out-of-state homeowner or homeowner. But there's always a mailing address inside of the tax records, property records.
And also, if it's just like one particular house, maybe a couple, I'm not just going to send regular mail or something like that, especially if I think it's a house that has a lot of potential as far as me doing a deal. I'm going to send a UPS or FedEx, because I want to, number one, I can track it a little better. They're a little bit more reliable than the USPS, in my opinion. And then it's just going to get their attention. If someone sends something large, what is that? I think it's 9.5 by 12.5 or something like that. That thick cardboard UPS, FedEx envelope mailers or that mailer. So.
All right. Tommy Brown wants to know, is a Google Voice number a good option for an alternate phone number to do wholesaling? Yes. Most people, you don't want to put your personal numbers on there. There's too many free options out there for you to get another number to use to handle your business. That way, okay, guys, let's not forget this is a business. If you're not able to differentiate whether someone's calling you in regards to wholesaling a house, buying a house, selling a house on your personal cell phone, then you don't need to use it. You can't answer the phone, yo, what up, who this, none of that. So you're going to need another number. Now with the Google Voice, and I'm sure with the other ones, you can have to forward it to your personal cell phone, and it tells you, hey, this is your Google Voice number calling. So you know how to switch up your tone, switch up your answer. And if you're in a position where you cannot answer, you might answer your homeboy in the mall, in the grocery store, at the barbershop, but do you want to answer that Google Voice number? This is a potential deal. This is somebody that you're trying to motivate or encourage them, persuade them to sell you their house. I don't want to hear that in the background. So yes, a Google Voice number, another number. Other than Google Voice, what other options are there, guys, for?
Google Voice is free. I love Google Voice. I would always recommend that when you first create a Google Voice, they have this little operator. So when people call, they get this operator, but you have the ability to take that operator off. So it's like they're calling a real phone number.
Correct. Some of the paid services, Sideline is good. There's a good app. Bumber, instead of number with an N, Bumber with a V. But I picked this up just recently. I was doing it, but I didn't know I was doing it. Tracking is very important. You really want a different number for your direct mail. You want a different number for your bandit signs. You want a different number for your cold calling. You want a different number for bird dogs, because you want to track and see what's working, what ain't working. What is working, you want to be able to compound it. What ain't working, you want to tweak or whatever. So, it's important that you try to track, your different lead generation phone numbers.
Okay. Courtney Brown. I don't think we've had this question asked, but it is a main concern of a lot of you guys beginning. She wants to know, can a seller go around you?
From where?
On Facebook. I don't know what I did. This is from YouTube. Can a seller go around you at the closing if they don't like the fee that you were making because they feel that you are getting over? And she's in Greenville, South Carolina. Everybody's scared about somebody taking their money.
Absolutely.
So I guess shoot it to them straight. Can they?
Absolutely. A seller can totally stop a deal before closing. Yeah. They do not have to close. They do not have to sell you their property. They're most likely will only forfeit the earnest money, which is nothing compared to what you're making. So seller do have the possibilities completely stop your sale. So to get around that, if you're making a significant amount of money, I will always do a double closing. Always do a double closing if you're making a significant amount of money. I personally do it anything over about $5,000-$10,000. I'm going to double close. What's your take, Ty?
What you think, Ty?
I don't care.
I like that attitude. Right?
I don't care.
I have to protect my coins. Let me.
I don't say a minute that says I don't care if they're going to walk away, because I do care, because it's happened once. But it wasn't because of money. It was because he was mad that the buyer didn't wait on him because his car broke down. And the buyer just was 5 minutes away. He just was at his office, which was 5 minutes away. He was mad because his car broke down. It was over 95 degrees heat. And when he got there, they wasn't ready to sign it. He literally walked away from the table or whatever. So, but as far as the money thing, in my experience, and Rena Kia, I can't question it, but always two ways to skin a cat. On closing day, everybody's happy because they're getting what they said they were going to get. That's my experience. But if you're fearful of them walking away or whatever, that's cool. Then double closes, they work. They work. You got one person in one room and another, or they just show up at different times or whatever. So, yeah, both work. Both work.
And also the buyer has the possibility of walking away too. I have had that happen where the buyer realized that we was wholesaling it, and they seen our fee, and they pretty much didn't let the deal go. They tried to renegotiate the price. So I just let the deal go. No, if I'm not making my money, no one's making any money. But so at the same time, you have to protect both sides. The buyer has the possibility to not wire the money and close the deal, and the seller has the opportunity to not sell you the deal. So you want to control that closing setting as much as possible.
Okay. Going with Vernon on Facebook. Vernon says, hello, my people. I want to buy, fix, and flip. My credit is bad, but I know someone with excellent credit, over 700. How can I present or convince that person to use their credit for funding in real estate, my real estate investments? Now, that's kind of personal, Vernon. what is your relationship
no one is going
with
to invest
person?
in no one is going to invest in a hot mess.
Right.
So the more confident that you are, you can almost sell anything. But if you don't sign confident in your own business, it's hard for someone to put money behind you. So.
Yeah, you may want to see. He's thinking about the bigger checks with flipping, but it's a volume play with wholesaling. You know what I'm saying? You know, it may take you 4 months to get a big flip check, whereas wholesaling in that 4 months time, you could have, who knows how much you could have made in that same time frame. So if you if you want to convince that person, hey, you need to invest with me, use your credit so we can make more money or take a different avenue, you do some wholesale deals, right? Show them the money you've made, but say, I still don't have the credit. It's going to take me some time to fix my credit, even though I'm making this money. Yo, you'll get that god doggone attention. You know what I'm saying?
Right, absolutely.
That we can use your credit and we can make, you know, we could be doing both of them. So start wholesaling on what your resources will allow you to do, make some money. Oh, people listen to you when you can show them some checks. Ain't no question about that.
I agree.
Did you just say get got gone? Get got gone?
I meant to say something else, but I cut it off. I tried to, you know,
get got done. Man, woo, that's that Mary coming up out of you. Who guys from a small little podunk town and they say get got done. I don't even know. I don't even know how to spell that. I don't know what that is.
Right, but I love what you said, Ty. I love what you said, Ty. I think, and you're absolutely right. Everyone wants to make money. That's one problem everyone have. I don't care how much money. Warren Buffett right now trying to figure out how he can make some more money. Everybody want to make more money. So when you approach people from a money tip and show them that you have done it and be able to show your checks and things of that nature, it's going to get people attention. It's going to. But you got to be able to show them something.
Okay. Someone wants to know, we spoke earlier about fire damaged properties and how, you know, they could possibly be deals if you get them at a low enough price. But the question is, should that be a niche? Should that be what they, if, you know, somebody particularly goes for? Would you suggest that?
What's the question?
He wants to target
fire damage properties.
Oh, fire damage. No, you
just
definitely
want to target deals, man. If that's
you want to
one
target
of them,
deals. I don't care if it's fire, target deals, because what you're gonna do is pretty much put yourself in a pot where there's absolutely it's less inventory.
Yeah,
real estate is a numbers game. Yeah. What do you say, Ty?
Yeah, I said he's putting himself in a box. You don't want to do that. Yeah. You want a box with no walls around it. You know what I'm saying? You can have a ceiling in the bottom to keep the rain out, but you want a box with no walls on. You want deals coming from all types of reasons of motivation: divorce, fire damage, out of town owners, death, income, a job loss, back taxes, tired landlords. You don't care what the motivation is, that they can give you the price that works for you.
Right.
Okay. Michaela Lavender says, okay, pretty good, Mom. Yeah. If y'all don't know, that's my little one. She watches from another room in the house, and I guess that's where her telling me that it's almost time for me to log off. She has something else planned for me.
Okay.
So
okay.
At this moment, we have we have been on. We did start maybe 5-10 minutes late, so it is currently 7:20 Central Time. So at this point, what I like to do is make sure that I give Ms. Rena Kia the opportunity to tell you how to get in touch with her, all the services that she offers, and then we'll do a roundabout across our platforms because we're live on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and we'll take an additional question. I will say I want you all to remember that this video is available pretty much as soon as we end on YouTube. You can continue to ask questions. As Ty mentioned earlier, he's really good about answering questions, guys. I mean, you can still post your question. He'll answer. He might redirect you to a video or somewhere else, you know, where he's answered it before. But he'll get with you. This is free content, free motivation, free encouragement, free information that could change your life. Take advantage of it, guys. And as I mentioned, I don't know how. I have to talk to Ty. I have to get his permission because this is his little rowboat and I'm just rowing in. About maybe starting something tomorrow on June 1st, our little $100 June challenge of getting a deal done. So Ms. Rena Kia, tell the good people what you offer, what you can provide, how they can get in contact with you.
Absolutely. First and foremost, I want to thank you all for allowing me to be a part of this movement, because that's exactly what it is. We teaching people how to build generational wealth through real estate. So I am the founder of Fortune Key Financials, and my focus is to provide the resources and the foundation and everything that you need to support you building generational wealth in your family and your household, starting with things like credit. Making sure that you understand how to be able to leverage your credit to use other people's money. Not only understand it, but also have the resources to help you be able to leverage your credit so you can use other people's money. Then we take it a step farther where we put together your investment plan. You know, when you go through our funding program, we put together an investment plan. My thing is, it's hard to know where you're headed if you don't know where you're headed. You know, it's hard to know where you're headed if you don't know where you are. So it's very important that you have a strategic plan on what you're trying to accomplish so you can hit your financial freedom status. My motto will always be, I feel that everyone can retire in a 10-year span if you discipline yourself, discipline your money, and discipline your credit and things of that nature. But I am on all social media channels, my first and last name. You could get in touch with any of my services or my funding services by going to findmynextdeal.com, and that'll pretty much get you in contact with me.
All right, guys, there you have it. Jeffrey, hopefully that answers your question. I see that, I'm sorry, that's Jason. You just asked how to get in contact with her. There you have it. Ty, before I do this roundabout, you got any input, anything you want to say, boss?
Oh, no, just I take advantage of all this free content. You know, we're adding on with these Flippinars. I know they're long or whatever, you know, but that's the intent. You know, we're asking a lot of the same questions over each week, but that's fine, you know, because everybody's not going to watch them all, so people can get that information. But we're also asking new questions. People coming up with some really good stuff that we haven't, you know, thought about to talk about. So I just, you know, I appreciate you guys, you know, joining me every week. You know, you and Rena Kia, and we'll see you all next week.
All right. With that being said, taking the question from Facebook, it is Link Salceto's question. Is there a way to amend the one-page contract to make it more difficult for a buyer or seller to back out at the last minute? Boy, y'all really concerned about these folks and these checks. Just get the deal on the table.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple, man. You guys are overthinking. Get a doggone deal. Worry about the hard part. a great deal. You're trying to count your money before. That's the worst thing you can do in this business. Is count money before you get it in your hand. Worry about the hard part. Find a flipping deal, a great deal. The rest of the
like Todd said, everyone is happy at the closing table. Get to the closing table. Everyone is happy.
Okay. The second and final question from Facebook is Crystal Davis. And this might be a long-winded question, but we'll try to keep it simple. She wants to know, what is a double closing?
Okay, that's a good question. Double closing is pretty much where you have two closings simultaneously. So instead of doing a one closing where you will have your assignment fee on the HUD, what it's going to look like, you're actually the buyer of the property, but at the same time, you're going to go in the other room and you're going to sell that property to your end buyer. Most likely, as the middle person, you do not have the money to close. So it closes simultaneously where you use the end buyer's money to be able to purchase the property from your AB, for your AB closing. So it allows you to be able to close a property without the seller or the buyer knowing your fee.
All right. Next question is going to come from YouTube. And Travis Hyde wants to know, how do you present yourself to real estate lawyers when it's your first wholesale deal? What should I expect during the first closing of a deal with an attorney?
If it's gotten that far where you're setting up a closing, they don't care. If it's gotten that far, all the ducks are in a row. You have your buyer in place, you have your seller in place. They set up the closing, the time, date. You know, they normally will send you a copy of the HUD-1 to show you, you know, who's getting paid, who's paying what, or whatever. There's no way to present yourself. Now, if you're talking about before you get a buyer or a seller in place, I don't even recommend doing that, because if you just call a title company and or a closing attorney out of the blue, you never know who you get on the phone, and it can be discouraging. But people still do it. I'm just telling you, I wouldn't encourage you to do it, because if you got a buyer and seller in place ready to go, getting a deal closed is normally not going to be your issue. Then you can, if you don't have a buyer this season and they don't have those relationships already built in, then that's when you get on the phone and start calling people and saying, hey, can you close this deal for me? You'll find a hungry attorney. I can assure you of that, that'll close that deal for you. You know, that's my 2 cents on it anyway.
And it's really simple. You just send the attorney your contracts and they just prepare the closing.
That's it.
It's that simple. Now you have the seller docs and buyer docs that you need to sign, but it's just that simple. Allow the attorney to do their job.
Okay. Final question of the day is for Joe Alvarez. It's is it a deal question? Ty, get your calculator ready. He has his first deal under contract for $10,000. The lot is 74. Oh, this is on YouTube.
Okay, good.
The lot size is 7,400, I guess, square feet or whatever. It's a complete tear down project. The ARV is 140K to 170. Can you please help me figure out what to list it for? So he has it for 10K, but it sounds like it's just a concrete slab if it's a complete tear down.
Well, some people say it's a tear down and it really ain't.
Right.
You know, that's so subjective. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to just say on that, because, well, what do you think, Rena? It's just so hard to say on
I would say, what is the rehab amount? What is the repair amount?
Yeah, see, he's not giving it as that, because he's saying it's a tear down. You know what I'm saying?
So, well, how much is it going to cost for you to rebuild that property? Because that's really going to determine if it's a deal or not. If it's going to cost me $120,000 to rebuild and it's really worth $140,000 after I rebuild, it's not a deal. You know, so determine how much it's going to be
based on the square footage of what similar houses that you're doing your comps on. If that's 1,200 square feet, and then it's going to depend on where you are. You know, you may be able to get it done for what, 7, 8.
It's probably one of those situations. Add $5,000 on top and sell it off.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't know your numbers. See, when you don't know your numbers, you leave money on the table. That is what it is. The more numbers you know your spread. The numbers create the spread.
Yeah.
You know exactly how much, not necessarily listed for, what you can actually take, and it still makes sense to the end buyer.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Final question of this Thursday night Flippinar: Cavs or Golden State? Who you got?
Baby, LeBron.
Last year I went on a bulletproof guarantee, and it was embarrassing. So we know who should win. You know, I know I want to win. We know who should win, but I know I want to. But that's why we
don't know who should. Who you got? Call it now. So you came back.
Well, no, I'm pulling for the Cavs. You know, but I like to look at stuff objectively. You can't compete when you got better. Well, I'll put it like this. Let me break it down to you. Okay, we probably all agree LeBron is the best player, but after that. Player, just if you had line up all starters, the next time you get to the best player on Cleveland is probably when you get to the 6th or 7th player. You can't. That's just math. If they were playing one game, anything could happen. But over the course of 7 games and the best of 4 in a 7-game series, the better team normally just win unless an injury happens, So, but I want the Cleveland to win. I said all that to say Cleveland, but I just know who has the better team. It is what it is.
All right. Tammy says the Wizards. Girl, go.
I know that's right. You ain't paying attention because you out there getting to the money. This is what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Well, Adria has Golden State all the way. GSW. Also,
bandwagoner.
No.
Splash Brothers.
No, and yes, and you say Warriors in 6. Okay, it's not going to be a sweep. There's no sweeping. Put your brooms up. I say Warriors in 6. Yeah, Cavs can get 2. That's it.
Whatever.
Oh, he ready to go now.
Yeah, I'm really ready to go.
And last bit, Shanshan, do not post your bandit signs outside the funeral home, and do not pass out cards at the funeral. That's just too ghetto. I cannot condone that. Don't do it. Okay, guys, we're ending this up. We appreciate you being here with us this Thursday. Join us next Thursday. Same bat channel, same bat time. The key to your success. Oh, I forgot it already. What is it, Renikia?
Oh, success is not a secret. It is a system.
Boom. Success is not a secret, it's a system. Get your system in order, y'all. Look for me tomorrow on the Facebook group, Wholesaling with the Flipman, to start our June challenge. Get your $100 ready. Make sure it ain't counterfeit. And I'm going to go work on borrowing mine from Rena Kia and Ty. We'll see y'all next week.
Got you.
On the flip side.
No.